Now, you got issues with the industry. What's going down with the industry, dog?
The industry is full of a bunch of sucking, dick riding, bending over the desk ass niggas, straight up like that. Whoever don't like it, bring it, nigga. Bring it. I don't give a fuck. Bring it. Bring it, bitch. They got this new breed of rapper that's paying DJs to play their shit.
Right.
And, you know what I'm saying? They the record label executive, and it's like there's too much of that going on.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Let me be me. Let me be the artist that I am and just play my motherfucking music. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Now they want you all up under this, you know, sitting at the going to dinner with them and shit like that, and you know all that favor for a favor shit. I don't get down like that. Look, I give you the music, you give me my money. That's it. A lot of the love I had for wanting to be a part of the industry is not there anymore. I don't even associate myself with the industry. You know what I'm saying? I'm not an industry artist. I'm an artist in the industry.
I get a little uncomfortable. I get uncomfortable. Like he said something to me one time, a long time ago. He told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what'd you just say? Let me move, man, before I do something. You're gonna make me mess up the wedding.
Oh, that's a nice gesture.
Let me get out and know that you take me there.
As it happens, DMX had been alerting us to Diddy's presence for years. 50 Cent was the only one who believed him, while the majority did not. DMX never held back when talking about the harsh realities of the music industry. He previously asserted that those in the field will do whatever it takes to be successful, give up, sell out, and take any necessary action. He wasn't just speaking for the sake of hearing himself. He claimed that he knew God existed since he had encountered the devil in the industry. He made it plain that he wasn't a member of the industry, he was in the industry but wasn't a part of it, which is why no one could control him. If there hadn't been evil, he wouldn't have had to struggle so hard to remain strong. He wouldn't follow their regulations.
Sold the company. They invited me into a house and they sold it. Yeah, I am mad. You know what I mean? All right, I'm mad. I feel betrayed, man, but it. You know what I mean? It's a business and I'm gonna carry it like a business. But my music is still my fucking music. And you play my music, you play on my life. You play on my life, nigga, you're gonna disappear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, things are definitely changing there, man.
Yeah, they got a whole new staff now, so I gotta go in and see what.
Before long, all of DMX's bizarre statements ceased to sound odd. In the past, he even claimed that he turned down offers from Diddy since something didn't seem right. In the present, we're seeing aspects of Diddy that are more sinister than most of us could have ever envisioned. Diddy wanted to come back in and try to double the offer when he realized that Def Jam was going to give DMX a big contract offer. But X didn't believe him. He had heard such stories before regarding Bad Boy Records' inner workings.
One thing I respect about him is that at least he told me to my face what he felt. He was like, his voice too rough, he's unmarketable. Maybe 3 weeks later, when he found out I was getting signed for Def Jam, he was like, yo, I'll lace your pockets. I'll double what they gave you and lace your pockets. I'm like,
if you didn't know what I was then, you just pretty much jump on the bandwagon now.
Because if you didn't see the beast that I was then, that's like, nah, I'm cool. So it's a legendary story.
Like I told you, we sat down with Diddy, but he knew he wasn't going to sign with Diddy. He knew Diddy wasn't going to sign him. He knew in his mind that Diddy wouldn't want to take on problems right now.
Yale said that you were supposed to sign the Bad Boy.
Look, they know I was talented. They just looked at it and was like, I don't want all the stuff that comes with it. The M stumbled over it, but he didn't know the trouble that came with it.
Oh, yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
DMX was known for talking out about how wicked the industry actually was. He talked about how the industry would basically unalive people because they made more money off of you than alive. One thing that stuck in my mind is the fact that DMX said that he never saw Biggie smile until he passed away. He explained that you would always see happiness in a person's smile or even in their eyes, and he literally didn't ever see that from Biggie until he was in his casket. In the same interview from a long time ago, he talked about how Diddy would rip off his artists and steal their publishing.
I never saw Biggie smile until after he died. And the hypnotized video came out. You know, hypnotized. I was like, oh. Like a smile brings a whole other light to your face. Like, I mean, it's kind of hard to explain. I'm really good at words, but like, it's hard to explain what a smile does for a person. Because you don't just smile with your mouth, you smile with your eyes. Like, you know, like a true smile can be seen even if a person is covering their mouth. Well, you know, locks got signed before I did. Even though I bought the locks to our batters, you know, they got signed. They were a safer group. You know, Pop signed them. And it was a blessing and a curse because they were sure they were happy about getting signed first, and they were on the Benjamin and shit was going. But then he made them jiggy and put them in suits and made them made them write lyrics for him and took all their publishing and like, damn, I'm glad I didn't,
And this isn't the only thing that DMX talked about. He also talked about how there were people in the industry that basically wanted to take you out to dinner and stuff to get a hold of your music. And you cannot tell me that DMX was not talking about Diddy, because the first thing that I thought of is when 50 Cent said that Diddy asked to take him shopping. DMX even explained how some of these artists would sleep with music executives to get up in the industry. And now that we know how Diddy rolls and what he was doing with people's careers, I almost guarantee you the person that DMX was talking about.
According to some, DMX only intended to rape his artists, monetarily that is, by robbing them when he made reference to Diddy doing so. But now that everything is out in the open, many are starting to wonder if he really meant what he said.
Think of it now. He was grooming us. It's kind of like you're signing boy band groups and girl band groups because you like one or two of them and you want to see who's gonna go. It's nothing to you but a tax write-off, but you're really searching for a butt the whole time. So he was looking for my butt, Chopper butt, everybody butt. It wasn't nothing about the music. Was like, yeah, I can, and it took off to be bigger than he ever expected it to be. But Puffy coming up, he was just signing a lot of boys. Usher, it was something he figured out that R. Kelly figured out, that we could get them away from the parents. If we could get them alone, isolated, then we can get them. Once you get in a butt, it's like, you want us now. What you gonna say? I got video of me in your butt. Like, how can you ever make another record? You dig what I'm saying?
Moreover, DMX did more than just disparage Diddy. He talked about how some aspiring rappers were doing anything, including activities unrelated to music, to get signed. In order to get their music broadcast, some artists were accused of doing favors for record label officials. Diddy was also subjected to the same charges.
Right, I go to Diddy parties, which is where people like me step in. To walk motherfuckers out! Cause ain't nobody stopping me when I come. Why would they talk about it? Who is there to go to? Who's gonna fucking help them? What HR department do you know of that works for any of these labels? When have you ever heard of a sexual harassment suit being publicly acknowledged in the entertainment industry at all? Never. Not in entertainment.
Tupac. Remember that one?
He was the only one.
Yeah.
You saw how that turned out.
Yeah.
No, guilty.
That's why they do it. To make you an example. To remind you what they're willing to do to keep things the way they want them. It's intimidation. Can't go to the authorities. They're all bought and paid for. You could try to get a special prosecutor, but they'll just pay somebody to reassign him to another case.
In the whole song, the industry, DMX revealed how twisted and fake everything was. It's about playing the game now, not about talent, he said. They want to dictate your behavior, speech, and appearance. If you don't comply, you're fired. He refused to be fake, though. He said, I'm not an industry artist, I'm an artist in the industry. And in 2025, all of DMX's statements from that era are starting to materialize. He warned us that musicians should not sell their souls. We were warned of the vultures by him. He made us aware of Diddy's existence, and he wasn't by himself.
And a criminal defense attorney, David, welcome.
Hey, Mike, good to be here.
So in week 2 of testimony, jurors heard from a dozen witnesses as prosecutors try to prove sex trafficking and racketeering. What are your expectations when court resumes tomorrow?
It's going to be really interesting tomorrow when Diddy's third or fourth assistant takes a stand, and she's going to actually corroborate Kid Cudi's testimony from last week, where he said that Diddy and another associate of his bombed his Porsche years ago at his house. Now, you have to have corroboration about that, because nobody can put Diddy there. And in fact, nobody even can say Diddy's the actual one who did it. But if they can say that Diddy or an associate of his did it, then you may have a racketeering charge there. Because right now, as it stands, Mike, nothing, and I mean nothing, is sticking to Diddy.
Diddy's lawyers are trying to make the case that his escapades do not amount to federal crimes. How difficult is that argument?
I think they're doing a fantastic job, honestly. Look, everybody has said, and Diddy's lawyers even said it in their opening statement, Diddy is not a good guy. There's a lot of domestic violence that occurred between him and Cassie in their relationship. However, what we've heard so far from the testimony of Cassie and the other individuals does not amount to the federal charges that he's being charged with right now. I'm not going to say anything that we heard is very good because it's all horrific. However, the state or the government in this particular instance needs to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that he conspired to racketeer, to sex traffic, and to promote prostitution. So far, they're falling way behind in this. And I know there's a lot more to go in this trial because they're saying it's going to be about 8 weeks. But the government really better step on the gas because they don't have a lot more time to go.
So the play seems to be maybe admit to a state crime that avoids prison time. Is that it?
Yeah, I think so. Look, again, you're hearing about all this domestic violence, but all that has nothing to do with what Diddy is charged with. There's a possibility, and I'm saying a very strong possibility right now, that Diddy could walk, that he could be spending 4th of July.
Instead of paying attention to DMX, many ridiculed him, calling him crazy, addicted, and washed up. The media kept dragging him along. Until his passing in 2021, they kept calling him problematic rather than giving him the respect he deserved. Indeed, DMX had his share of issues, in contrast to other of the powerful people in the industry who kept accumulating riches and reputation. Diddy was never really accused of predatory conduct or of harming women or children, despite his drug problems and legal troubles. The issue is that there's a decent chance Diddy can get out of this predicament.
The federal sex trafficking trial against Sean Diddy Combs. Yeah, today jurors heard from Capricorn Clark. She was a former employee of Combs who testified that the music mogul kidnapped and threatened her during her time working for him. Combs has pleaded not guilty to all charges in the case. NBC News Entertainment correspondent Chloe Malas is outside the courthouse for us once again in New York City. Chloe, what did Clark say on the stand today?
It was incredibly riveting. She was emotional just a few moments ago. She actually apologized to the judge for crying so much. This is a woman who was a personal assistant for Combs at one point and then held various roles on and off over the course of 14 years. And she talked about this one moment from December 2011 when she says that Combs was furious when he found out that Cassie had been cheating on him with musician Kid Cudi. Remember, Kid Cudi, whose real name is Scott Muscudi, he testified last week. And so now we're getting a fuller picture of her version of what happened in December 2011 when Combs allegedly broke into Kid Cudi's house after he found out that Cassie and Kid Cudi were having this relationship. And she says that Combs showed up to her apartment early in the morning with a gun and kidnapped her, forced her to go with him to break into Kid Cudi's home. And then she said that she stayed back in the car and she called Cassie and warned her what was going on. She also says that later that morning she returned to Sean Combs' house after he had her go and get Cassie and bring her to him. She says that that's when she witnessed Combs violently beat up Cassie and her to the point that she fell to the ground in a fetal position, and that he continued to all the way from the front threshold of this mansion to the street. And she says that she was so worried for Cassie's life that she actually called her mother, Regina Ventura, and told her to call 911. But this is slightly different, you guys, than what we heard on the stand from Kid Cudi. Also, when we heard Regina Ventura take the stand, we didn't hear about that call from Capricorn Clark. So, you know, it's really interesting for me to sit in this courtroom and you hear little bits and pieces of these alleged events. And so it's going to be really interesting to hear what the jury eventually thinks in a few weeks. And I also want to point out that it looks like the prosecution might actually be running ahead of schedule, and they may only have just about 4 weeks left of their case before they hand it over to the defense.
And Chloe, who else are we expecting to see on the stand this week?
So today we're expecting to hear from some of the individuals that got to the scene of Kid Cudi's car explosion a few weeks after this alleged Remember, he said last week on the stand that Combs was so angry about his relationship with Cassie going on behind his back that he was behind this Molotov cocktail being put into his Porsche convertible. And we saw pictures of the damage of his Porsche last week. So we're expecting to hear from some of the firefighters and the police officers.
On the other hand, rapper 50 Cent claims he plans to talk to President Donald Trump about his wish to stop Trump from pardoning Diddy, and Diddy's life could be totally changed by this. Trump shocked everyone Friday at a press conference. In the Oval Office with Elon Musk, Trump said that he would be open to pardoning Diddy if he were found guilty in the ongoing federal prosecution for racketeering. It didn't take 50 Cent long to reply. "I will not allow Trump to give Diddy a pass," he wrote on Instagram. He spoke some pretty nasty things against Trump. "I will inform him about how, since it's not acceptable. I feel about this guy," the Ind Club rapper stated. Then he posted something else. "Donald doesn't take well to disrespect and doesn't forget who chooses to go against him." Diddy's former aide, Capricorn Clark, testified during this week that after an MTV event, Diddy allegedly complained to his manager Chris Lighty about 50 Cent. Diddy said, "I like guns. I don't like all the back and forth," in an elevator after the show. They didn't miss that line. The Instagram comment was ridiculed by 50 Cent, who made headlines 9 times in 2000. Speaking about Capricorn Clark, she testified on some absolutely strange issues.
How did that go from your point of view? When Capricorn testified, man, it was heartfelt because, not because she was crying and going through all the pain that Cassie and her went through, and because when you heard her testimony, you found out that she really didn't care for Cassie like that. Their friendship grew. You know, they had grown into a friendship that she cared more about Diddy because she even wrote him letters that she had a crush on him back in the day. So it was kind of weird hearing all the stuff she was going through. And in my mind, I was thinking that, you know, and knowing who Diddy was, he probably slept with her too. That's what I was thinking. I don't know that to be true. You understand? But what people didn't understand in her testimony, because just like Dawn, that he would fire her, then she'll come back, or she'll go get another job, and then she'll have to come back, or whatever they work about, something like that. People don't understand this, bro. And when you look at the situation with all the people that were employed by Diddy and that was in the music world, it's this old proverb, the golden rule. And what's the golden rule? The man with all the gold make all the rules. They think it's 5 times they said. Up in this old abandoned warehouse like. So she was terrified and she was scared and she didn't want to go, but she had to go. And she put Paul Offord on blast. That's the one they used to call Uncle Paulie. She put him on blast like he was some gangster taking her up there. And if she would have been found, you know, and all the polygraphs came up inconclusive, whatever that shit is. It wasn't conclusive that she did anything regarding stealing any of the jury or something like that. So it was just a
Furthermore, Gene Deal supplemented Clark's evidence with even more shocking revelations when Capricorn testified.
Tonight, and Lil C's, who I hadn't seen all week, Lil C says, "Gene, go ahead on with that cop shit." I said, "I know one thing, you better get you a GED. You know what that is? A good enough degree, so they don't cheat you out your money like they doing your man right here." And I was talking about Big, because I had read his whole contract on the plane, because Puffy gave me the briefcase. When he gave me the briefcase, you know, like he just do some balk, they hand me the briefcase and went to first class, and I went to coach in the emergency exit, and I just opened it up, start reading the shit. So I'm saying, because at the end of the contract, Big was begging for his, well, he was asking for his publishing and his marketing back, and Puff was saying in the contract, we'll revisit that at a later date. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just reading this story. I got 6 hours on this plane. I'm gonna go through whatever's in this briefcase. Somebody told that. Somebody told Puff, Pac gotta die, Big gotta die. And Suge not gonna go to jail. You know, these people plan 25 years in advance. Had Pac and Big still been alive today, come on, brother. You and I both know.
For almost 2 decades, Diddy and 50 Cent have been at odds. In a 2006 diss track called The Bomb, 50 Cent asserted that Diddy was aware of the identity of the person who killed rapper Notorious Big. Since then, several experts have stepped out and confirmed my assertions. 50 has been making fun of Diddy online ever then, especially when Diddy's ex-girlfriend Cassie Ventura filed a shocking lawsuit accusing him of abuse and interfering with sex parties. Furthermore, a Netflix documentary on Diddy's alleged sexual misbehavior is presently being produced by 50. In the meantime, the courtroom became more tense. One of Diddy's former employees, Mia, testified before jurors that she had been sexually assaulted by him during her 8 years of work with him, from 2009 to 2017.